Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Hiruzen put Naruto under CRA and he had multiple wives? Naruto x Harem, Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this and comment for next part. And now let's start the fanfic. 12 years ago in the village of Konoha. It was a dark night in Konoha as most had gone to sleep except for a couple who were in the hospital. That couple was Namikaze Minato, and Uzumaki Kushina, who was delivering a baby in the hospital. Push, push. One of the doctors told Uzumaki Kushina as they were trying to deliver the baby. Meanwhile, Namikaze Minato was anxiously pacing through the hallways as he waiting for the results of the pregnancy. There was also Kakashi there, sitting in one of the chairs and watching his sensei pacing. Don't worry, Minato-sensei. I'm pretty sure everything will go well. Kakashi said in order to try and reassure his nervous sensei, which was a sight to behold as his sensei was never nervous. I know Kakashi, but I'm still nervous about all this. I mean, this is going to be our child. Minato replied. Suddenly, he felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see his sensei, Jiraiya-sensei, I thought you left the village already. Minato asked, surprised at seeing the Sannin. I was, but then I went by to check on you guys and didn't see you at your house. I then heard from Sarutobi that you were at the hospital and so I came here to see how's everything going. Jiraiya explained with a grin. Arigato Jiraiya-sensei. This means a lot to me and also Naruto since you will be his godfather. Minato replied with a smile. Then, Kakashi started to laugh, which got the attention of the student and teacher. And what's so funny, Kakashi? Minato asked. You actually named him after some ramen sensei? Kakashi asked while laughing. I told you it was a bad name. Jiraiya said to his student. What? I like ramen. Besides, I don't need your approval, Hentai Kakashi, and Aro Sennin. Minato said as he called the two by their nicknames. Damn it. Why do you keep calling me that? I hope your son doesn't call me that. Jiraiya replied. Hentai. Kakashi repeated. Minato-sama. We are finished with the operation, but, the head doctor said as he came out of the surgery room. But what? Minato asked, and as he did, lightning struck outside. When the doctor did not respond, Minato grabbed him. But what? Minato said. It's your wife. She didn't make it through. I'm so sorry. The doctor said. This is a joke, right? You're joking, right? Minato yelled. I wish I was, but I am not. I'm terribly sorry, Hokage-sama. The doctor said. Here is the baby, sir. A female nurse said and brought a blonde baby boy with blue eyes, crying. Minato smiled at the baby and then took it from the nurse and began cradling it. Naruto. Namikaze Naruto, that's your name, Minato began to say before tears started to fall from his eyes. Minato-sensei. Kakashi said as he saw the sad look on his sensei's face. Suddenly, an explosion occurred in the village and screams of villagers could be heard. What's going on? Minato asked as the hospital shook. Hokage-sama. A demon named Kyuubi is attacking the village. He's too powerful for us to hold back. A Junin said as he appeared in the hospital. Kyuubi. That demon? Minato asked. Sensei. What should we do? Kakashi asked. Minato looked at his son for a while before he got a serious look on his face and turned to face Jiraiya and Kakashi. I'll use that jutsu to seal the monster into my son. Until then, hold him off as long as you can while I get prepared. Minato said, shocking the two men. Are you insane? That jutsu is too dangerous and you don't even know if that child can hold the demon. Jiraiya replied. Besides, isn't it a bit too much to ask your son to become the container of the demon? Kakashi asked. And who else can I use? I can't put this burden on any child other than my own. Besides, who's better fit to hold the demon than the child of the Hokage? Minato said as he looked down at Naruto, who was giggling despite the danger outside the hospital. So you're really determined to go through with this, aren't you? Well then, I will not stop you. Just make sure you don't mess up, Gaki. Jiraiya grinned. Of course I won't, Ero Sennin. Minato replied with a huge grin. Kakashi-san. Thank God you're here. One of the Junins on the battlefield said. Hokage-sama said to hold off the beast until he arrives. He will take care of everything. Kakashi said, and the Junin nodded. Yush, everything is set. Minato said as he then picked up his son who now had a seal in his navel. You're gonna be a hero, Naruto. Yes you will, yes you will. Minato said as he jiggled his son a bit, making the said baby laugh. And I hope they are able to see you as the container, not the demon. Minato thought as he looked at his son with sad eyes and then headed off. Minato quickly arrived on the battlefield where there were many wounded lying down. I have to hurry. Kuchio's no jutsu, Minato said as he then performed the summoning and summoned a huge red frog. It's been a while, Minato. The frog said. Sorry for summoning you Gamabunta, but I need your help in sealing that. Minato said, pointing to the Kyuubi. Kyuubi, che, what kind of mess did you guys get yourselves into this time? Gamabunta asked. I don't know, but right now, we have to seal it now before he destroys the entire village. Minato said as he got on top of the frog's head. Got it. Gamabunta said. What is this? A puny human in Gamabunta, the old relic of a frog. Kyuubi scoffed. You shouldn't underestimate us humans, Kyuubi. We can be quite resilient. Minato said as he then started to go through some seals. Whatever you do won't work, puny human. Kyuubi roared as it lunged toward Gamabunta and Minato. You better hurry, Minato. Even I am no match for that demon. Gamabunta said as he saw the demon head for them. I'm done. Now eat this. Shiki Fuin. Minato yelled, and then suddenly, a death god appeared behind him and the seal on Naruto activated. The Shinigami. Bakana, impossible. Are you actually going to seal me, the Kyuubi, in that child? Kyuubi roared as he felt his soul being pulled out. Of course I am. The only thing I have to pay for is my life. Minato said with a smirk. You've got guts, human, but if you think that this seal will hold me for long, then you're mistaken. As soon as I find a way out, I'll tear this entire village down, including that man. Kyuubi said before he was finally sealed into Naruto. It's done, Gua, Minato began to say before feeling an immense pain in his heart and falling on the floor. He then looked at his son and smiled. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I guess I won't be watching you grow into the next Hokage. Take care, my son. Minato said as he touched his son's face and then went cold. The little baby Naruto giggled and crawled up to play with his father's face, but then, as if he could understand what had happened, began to cry when his father did not respond and the rain began to fall down. Naruto POV. My name is Uzumaki Naruto and I'm 13 years old. 12 years ago, the Yondaime Hokage defeated the Kyuubi in order to stop the demon fox from destroying Konoha. But strangely enough, ever since the day I was born, people hated me. They glared at me with eyes that could burn brighter than the sun, and were merciless, ruthless toward me, treating me like the lowest life form that ever existed, as if I was a demon. When they would attack me, they would say, "Take that, you vile demon." Or, "My husband is dead because of you. Do us a favor and just drop dead." Basically cursing my existence and wishing for my very death, as if I died, then their pain would vanish once and for all. But I never understood why they said all this to an 8-year-old boy like myself until one day, when Sarutobi Gigi told me everything. Flashback. Where is he? Where is Naruto? The Sandaime Hokage asked the nurses as he walked around the hospital, looking for the young boy. I mean the boy is in room 302, Hokage-sama. One of the nurses answered and caught herself before calling the boy, demon, as that I would incur the wrath of the mighty Hokage, and a pissed off Hokage was the last thing one would want to face. Thank you, miss, and I would advise next time to make sure that not even syllable of that word ever leave your mouth, understood? The Hokage said sternly, glaring at the young nurse, who could only nervously nod under the glare of the mighty Hokage. The Hokage then headed for the room, and when he arrived, opened the door to reveal a young boy with unruly blonde hair, blue eyes, shirtless, on a hospital bed, with his head down. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? The Hokage asked. Yes, I am, Sarutobi Oji-san. Naruto replied solemnly without even looking up at the Hokage. It looks like the Kyuubi healed him since according to Kakashi, he was covered with lacerations and bruises all over his body. The Hokage noticed as he remembered the Anbu captain's report of the incident as he was the one who brought Naruto to the hospital. Tell me something, Oji-san. Naruto started to say, taking the Hokage out of his thoughts. What is it, Naruto-kun? The Hokage asked, but then his eyes slightly widened as he saw tears coming from Naruto. Why? Why do they treat me like this? Why do they hate me? Is it because of those pranks I pull? Whatever it is, I'll stop. Naruto said, nearly yelling as he looked at the Hokage with his tear-covered face. It's not about you did exactly. The Hokage said, sighing as he got himself in a tough situation. Could he really tell the kid the truth that he was actually the container for the Kyuubi kitsune that attacked the village 8 years old? Then what is it? Please, you have to tell me. I can't take it anymore. Every night, I fear I may get attacked by them, and even when I walk down the streets, I'm scared I might get killed. Please, you have to tell me. Naruto practically begged to the Hokage, pulling on the robes of the Hokage and crying on them. The Hokage was shocked by what the boy said and then sighed. He pats the boy on the head and then closes the door. I wished I did not have to tell you this now, but it looks like I have no choice. Naruto-kun, the reason why the villagers hate you is because you hold the Kyuubi kitsune. The Hokage revealed to the young boy. But that can't be, it was said that the Yondaime defeated the demon fox. Naruto replied in disbelief. That was a lie concocted by the council and myself in order to make sure that your generation or future generations would not know about the truth and hate you as well for being the container of the Kyuubi. The Hokage replied. So, am I truly the demon? Is that why they hate me? Naruto asked, trembling at the truth he learned. No, you are not. You are merely the container, the one that holds the demon fox at bay. The Hokage replied. But why me? Why did the Yondaime have to choose me? Naruto asked, not trembling anymore but still a bit shocked by all this. Because Naruto-kun, the Yondaime could not impose this on any children of other families. The only one he was willing to use is his own child. The Hokage answered sagely. What? I'm the Yondaime's son? Naruto asked, gaping and shocked at this latest revelation. Yes, you are. Your real name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. Your father was Namikaze Minato and your mother was Uzumaki Kushina. Your mother had died when she had you, and Minato decided to use his own son for the kinjutsu since he could not put this burden on anyone else's family. He wanted you to grow as a hero, but obviously his plans were dashed away by the idiocy of the villagers. Sarutobi explained, saying the last part with a hint of venom in his voice as he could not believe the people of his own villagers would have this much hatred for a little boy. The Hokage that I admired the most was my father. Oji-san, can you tell me more about my father and mother? Naruto asked. Of course. The Hokage smiles. End flashback. Sarutobi Oji-san told me a lot about my parents and how great people they were. That is when I decided to create a dream for myself, and one that I will do whatever it takes to achieve it, but first, I needed to get stronger. The academy that I was attending taught us basic jutsus like Bushin and Kawarini no Jutsu, but in order for me to achieve my goals, I needed to more than that. Normal POV. Knock knock. Come in. Sarutobi asked as he was filing paperwork. He looked up as the person entered the room, and it was none other than Naruto, who had on a black shirt with the Whirlpool logo on the front, gray shorts, and blue shoes. Did you get yourselves some new clothes, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked as he saw what the young Namikaze was wearing. Yep. Used a henge to trick the owners into letting me buy some new clothes. It's ironic that they live in a ninja village and yet can't even recognize a henge. That's not good for our village if half of them are morons, Oji-san. Naruto said nonchalantly. That boy is becoming a smart ass more and more by the day, ever since I told him the stories of his father, who ironically was also a smart ass as well. Sarutobi thought, smiling at the boy's antics. Anyway, I need your help, Oji-san. Naruto asked as he walked up to the Hokage. And what would that be, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked. I want you to teach me advanced ninjutsu, not that crap that we are learning from the academy. Naruto said bluntly. I see, but I'm sorry Naruto-kun, but I can't teach you. Sarutobi replied with a grin. Huh, and why is that? Don't tell me it's some stupid rule or something. Naruto asked. No, it's not, but it's just that it would be unfair if you learned from the Hokage himself while others of your age did not. As Hokage, I have to be fair to everyone and not just one person, no matter how close I am to them, and besides, I already taught you Kage Bushin. But if you really do want to learn advanced ninjutsu, then I have someone in mind. Sarutobi said. Kakashi was standing in front of a stone in the cemetery of Konoha like he does every day. Of course, one would if they have lost as have many comrades as Kakashi had over the years. Would you be Hatake Kakashi? Naruto asked as he entered the cemetery. Yes, and you must be Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, right? Kakashi asked as he looked at the boy with both his eyes. How do you know about that? Naruto asked, surprised that someone knew his real full name. I was your father's student when he was a Junin. Kakashi replied. I see. This stone here, it's a stone of those killed in action, right? Would my father be there? Naruto asked as he looked at the stone. Actually, he would be buried over there next to your mother. Kakashi said, and he walked up to where Minato and Kushina were buried. To-san, Ka-san. Naruto whispered. So kid, what did you want to talk to me about? I doubt you came all this way just for that. Kakashi asked. Oh yeah, I almost forget. Sarutobi Oji-san told me that you could train me in ninjutsu. Naruto said as he remembered why he came up to the silver-haired ninja. He calls the Hokage Oji-san. Kakashi thought as he heard the nickname Naruto had for the Hokage, so you want to learn advanced ninjutsu. But you're only in the academy. Kakashi replied. Yeah, but I have amazing chakra reserves and stamina, and also, I know this. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Naruto said and then created 5 clones. Wow, that's amazing for someone who is still in the academy, but why do you want to learn advanced ninjutsu so badly? Kakashi asked the Namikaze. Because I want to surpass my father and become the greatest Hokage that ever lived. Naruto boasted. That's a huge goal, kid, considering your dad was known as the strongest Hokage ever. But if you want to outdo him so badly, then perhaps I can be of some help. Here, hold this. Kakashi said and then took out a white piece of paper and handed it to Naruto, who grabbed with his left hand. What the heck is that for? Naruto asked. I want you to channel your chakra into it. The reason for this is that it will help you determine what type of elemental ninjutsu you can perform. Kakashi answered. Elemental ninjutsu? You mean ninjutsu that are based on the elements of fire, wind, earth, water, and lightning, right? Naruto asked. Precisely. Kakashi replied. Okay, here I go. Naruto said and then channeled his chakra into the paper, and then the paper split in two. You have an elemental affinity toward wind. Well, I don't know any wind ninjutsus myself personally, and the Leaf Village is not known for wind ninjutsu, but I can help you with basic wind jutsu training. Kakashi said and then grabbed a leaf and gave it to Naruto. A leaf? You call that basic ninjutsu training? Naruto asked. Shut up and listen. The reason why I am giving you this leaf is for you to cut it with your wind chakra. By doing that, you'll be able to, Kakashi began to say, only to be interrupted by Naruto. Done. Naruto said as he showed the 2 pieces of the leaf to Kakashi, whose eyes bulged out. You finished already? What kind of academy student are you? Kakashi asked. What? Was this supposed to be hard? Naruto asked, confused at the Junin's reaction. For an academy student, Yes, it was supposed to be hard. Kakashi replied. Then it seems the standards have plummeted then. Anyway, thanks for the elemental affinity thingy since now I can come up with better jutsus. Naruto said as he started to walk away. That boy, he's just like you, Minato-sensei. Kakashi thought. Naruto was on his way back to his apartment when he suddenly heard a girl's screams. He rushed down and saw that a girl with pink hair was getting picked on by some girls who held her book in their hands and forced her to get it from them. Look at that girl. So weak, and such a huge forehead. One of the girls said. Please give me back my book. The pink-haired girl cried out. Or else what? You're going to try to attack us with your big forehead? Another of the girls asked. Medical Ninjutsu 101. Sounds like an interesting book. Naruto said as he was holding the book in his hands. How did you get that book? The leader of the girls asked. I grabbed it from your hand while you weren't looking, duh. I mean, did you expect me to ask or something? Naruto said nonchalantly. You've got some nerves, kid. The leader growled. So you can make coherent sentences after all. I thought you were just some big mentally challenged brute. Naruto said, causing the leader to flush in anger. Who is this boy? Sakura thought. Now leave or else. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Naruto said, and a horde of clones popped in, scaring the girls and making them leave. He smirked and then walked up to the girl and handed her the book. Thank you very much, Sakura said with a smile. Now that I look at it, your forehead is huge. Naruto said, causing the girl to flinch and her eyes to water until she felt a sensation on her forehead and saw that Naruto had kissed it, but it also looks very kissable. Naruto said with a wide grin, causing the girl to blush. By the way, did you get book from the library? Naruto asked. Why, yes I did. Actually, I was on my way there. Do you want to go with me? Sakura asked, her face now red as she still didn't recover from her daze. Sure, Naruto said with a foxy grin, causing Sakura to turn into color that was humanely impossible. Man, this trip was worth it. Now I have enough books to get started on my training. Arigato. What's your name? Naruto asked the girl as they returned from the library. Haruno Sakura. Sakura replied. Arigato, Sakura-chan. Naruto grinned. No problem and thank you for saving me from those bullies. Sakura said but then trailed off as she did not know his name either. Oh yeah, I forgot, I never introduced myself. The name's Namikaze Naruto. Naruto said sheepishly. Well, this is where I live. I guess I'll see you some other time. Sakura said as she arrived on the doorsteps of her home. Then I'll see you tomorrow at the academy then. Naruto said. Wait, you go to the academy? Sakura asked. Of course I do. I just don't show up unless what we're learning is interesting, which is only about 5% of the time. Naruto answered. Oh, well then I'll see you whenever you come by. Sakura said, and then opened the door to her house and closed it. For her, I might just show up in class tomorrow. Naruto thought before heading off. Okay class, calm down. It's time for roll call, so please say something when I say your name, Iruka said and then started to go down the list. Namikaze Naruto, Iruka said. Here, Naruto said and everyone turned to see the young Namikaze lounging on his seat. You actually came to class. Oh thank you Kami, what a miracle. Iruka said as he got down on his knees and fake tears came out of his eyes causing everyone in the classroom to sweat drop. Don't get your panties in a bunch. I only came here as a favor for someone. Naruto said. Did he come to the academy for me? Sakura asked as she looked up from her book. Naruto, you've finally come back. A voice said and everyone turned to see Sasuke who was grinning like crazy at Naruto and cracking his knuckles. Oh, hey Sasuke. Naruto said, greeting the young Uchiha. Don't hey me. You know what time it is, right? Sasuke asked. Oh yeah, it's that time. Naruto said as he understood what the Uchiha meant. What do they mean by that time? A brown-haired boy asked Shikamaru. It's basically an eternal combat between Sasuke and Naruto. The premise is simple. If Sasuke can punch Naruto just once, then he wins and makes Naruto do his homework. If Sasuke can't punch Naruto in one try, then he has to buy Naruto ramen. Shikamaru explained. That doesn't seem so bad. The brown-haired boy said. Not bad. Are you out of your mind, you fool? Choji yelled. What's so bad about the consequences for either one? The brown-haired boy asked, confused. It's not bad if Sasuke wins, but if he loses, it's bad for him. You see, Naruto has an insatiable appetite for ramen, which is 100 times worse than my hunger for anything. Choji said, making the boy gulp since Choji's appetite was legendary among the academy. And on top of that, it has been reported that Naruto eats on average 10 bowls of ramen each day. Now multiply that by the amount of money they each cost, and this is how much Sasuke has to spend every time he loses, and so far, he's lost 10 times in a row. Shikamaru added on. Oh my god, that's insane. But if it costs that much, then why doesn't he just quit? The brown-haired boy then asked. Because of Sasuke's pride in nature. Sasuke cannot admit defeat no matter what, and on top of that, Sasuke loves to fight anyone and thus cannot bring himself to refuse such an opportunity. Shikamaru said. So in reality, Naruto is using Sasuke's hunger for fighting to his own advantage. How cruel. The brown-haired boy said. Kiba, do you have the commentary ready? Choji asked. Yes, I do, and as of right now, Sasuke is tensing up, ready to strike while Naruto is seating comfortably in his chair, awaiting Sasuke's attack. Ha! Sasuke throws his book bag at Naruto, who catches, but wait a minute. That was only a distraction to allow Sasuke to get in close for the kill. Will he actually pull it off? Kiba asked as everyone was on edge. Morita, got you. Sasuke yelled as he threw a right hook and smirked as he connected, only for Naruto to turn into Iruka-sensei. Sasuke gasped. What happened? Iruka asked, dazed and nearly knocked out from the blow. Ouch. It seems Naruto pulled a Kawarini at the last minute, switching places with Iruka-sensei. Another tough loss for Sasuke. Will he ever recover from another crushing defeat? Kiba commentated. Urusei. Sasuke yelled at Kiba. Nice work there, Sasuke. Naruto asked as he was on Iruka's desk. I hate you. Sasuke growled. That's not what you said last night in bed, Sasuke-chan. Naruto smirked, making the yaoi fangirls blush and squeal. I'll rip your balls off. Sasuke roared, only to be held back by Kiba, Choji, and Shikamaru. Later, Naruto and Sasuke are eating ramen at Ichiraku Ramen. Ah, come on, Sasuke. You're the one who agreed to this, and besides, you can consider this as a part of your shinobi training. Naruto said to the extremely pissed Uchiha, who literally had an aura of rage around him, scaring bystanders. By the way, you should cool down because you're scaring Ayame-chan and Tsuki-san. Naruto said. Akuma, devil. Ayame and her father whispered, extremely scared of the Uchiha. You're right about that, and besides, it's much more fun than what we learn in class, but be warned, I will get that hit if it's the last thing I do before graduating. Sasuke said, smirking as he cooled down. Whatever you say. Naruto replied. See you whenever you come back to class, Naruto. Sasuke said as he headed off. Naruto finished his meal and turned around to leave, only to bump into Sakura, and falling down, on top of her, causing the girl to blush furiously. Well, this is an interesting position we're in, huh, Sakura-chan? Naruto grinned, and then helped her up get off the ground. Gomen Nasai, I should have watched where I was going. Sakura said as she got her books. Did you want to see me for something? Naruto asked. Well, I was wondering if you wanted to come to the library with me. I was going to review what we've learned in class today and also get more books. Sakura asked, blushing. I didn't really pay attention to what Iruka-sensei said since I already knew about it, but I wouldn't mind going with you, Sakura-chan. Naruto said with a grin, and then the two headed off. 4 years later, present time. Normal POV. Alright class, Today is the Genin exam and this year's exam will be on Bushin no Jutsu. When I call your name, please come to the room next door so that Iruka can begin your test. Mizuki, one of the teachers of the class, instructed. Man, this is going to be such a troublesome test. Hey Naruto, what do you think? Shikamaru asked the young blonde who now was wearing a white jacket with a red spiral on the back and red flames, dark orange shirt, black shorts, black shoes, and silver fingerless gloves with white spirals on them. I think the best thing for you to do is worry about yourself, Shikamaru. I mean, for God's sake, the ground itself can move more than you can in a month. Naruto said. Damn that guy and his smart mouth. I'm so depressed, Shikamaru said as he sat down in the corner. It's okay, Shikamaru. It's all okay, Choji said, comforting his friend. Naruto, Sasuke whispered as he was dressed in a blue shirt with the Uchiha fan on the back, white shorts, bandages on his feet and blue shoes. He also had blood on his knuckles. You almost missed the test, Sasuke, and what's up with the blood on your knuckles? Iruka asked. Oh, it's from a group of 10 bullies I beat up on the way here. They bumped into me and pissed me off. Sasuke explained. You beat the crap out of people for bumping into you. Iruka thought with a sweat drop behind his head. Could today finally be the day Sasuke lands a punch on Naruto? Kiba said as his dog barked. Here I come, Naruto. Sasuke said and then poofed up, revealing him to be a Kage Bushin. Shit, I forgot he learned KB from me during our training sessions. Naruto thought. I win this time, Sasuke said as he was right behind Naruto and struck him with a roundhouse kick, only for Naruto to poof away. So Naruto was a clone too. Everyone exclaimed. Good thing I thought of creating a clone as backup just in case. Well, it looks like you've missed your last chance, Sasuke. Naruto said as he entered the classroom and then sat down next to Sakura. You really shouldn't do that to Sasuke, Naruto-kun. Sakura said. But it's so much fun, Sakura-chan. Naruto replied with a grin. I'm such a loser, Sasuke said, heavily depressed as he banged his head on his desk multiple times. You tried your best, Sasuke-kun. Hinata thought as she looked at the Uchiha heir. Next, Namikaze Naruto. Mizuki called out and Naruto stood up and headed for the room where Iruka was waiting for him. Okay Naruto, the Hokage asked me to give you a different test. Iruka said. Oh really? Naruto asked as he raised his eyebrow. So instead of the usual test, we'll be tested for each jutsu style. You pass all 3 and you receive your headband, okay. Iruka explained. No prob. Naruto nodded. First up is Genjutsu. All you have to do is show me a Genjutsu technique. Iruka says. Naruto went through a number of seals and then in an instant, Iruka finds himself falling from the sky. Whoa. Kai. Iruka yelled out and then cancels the Genjutsu. That was amazing, Naruto. Alright. Next up is Ninjutsu, which should be easier since it is your strongest style. Iruka says after he recovered from the Genjutsu. Naruto does a seal and then vanishes in the wind and was instantly behind Iruka. So, how do you like my K's Shunshin no Jutsu, wind body flicker technique, Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked with a slight grin. Not only did he master the Shunshin no Jutsu but he also create an elemental version of it. I knew Naruto was extremely talented in ninjutsu but not this talented. Iruka thought. He then sighed and turned around to meet Naruto. Very good Naruto. Now, the last one is taijutsu and all you have to do is fight me so I can see how well your taijutsu is. Iruka explained. Naruto nodded and while Iruka got into a traditional fighting stance, Naruto just put his hands in his pocket, confusing Iruka. Are you sure you want to stand like that, Naruto? Iruka asked, grinning. I'm sure, sensei. Naruto replied with a somewhat cold, causing Iruka to flinch. Iruka then charges toward Naruto and starts to throw a left punch but then was about to switch to a right punch when suddenly, Naruto grabbed his right arm to flip him into the air and into the ground. What happened? Naruto, how did you do that? Uruka asked, confused at what his student did. It's simple, Uruka-sensei. I saw your right arm slightly move, indicating that you were going to attack with it instead, and your first attack was a feint. Despite the speed and strength difference between the two of us, my ability to deduce your attack enabled me to react faster than you and thus counter you. Naruto explained, as if it wasn't such a big deal. I forgot that not only is Naruto a smart ass, he's also very intelligent. Uruka thought. Well, I don't think I need to continue this test then. As of now, you are now a genin, Naruto. Uruka says as he gets back up. He then gets one of the headbands from the table in the room, and then gives it to Naruto, who wraps it around his left arm. After the exam, you want to go to Ichiraku and get some ramen, Naruto? Uruka asked. Absolutely. Naruto answered with foxy grin. Later, Uruka and Naruto are at Ichiraku ramen shop, waiting for their ramen. I'm so happy you became a genin, Naruto-kun, the ramen shop's daughter known as Ayame said with a smile. Thank you, Ayame-chan. It means a lot to me coming from you. Naruto replied with a beautiful smile, causing Ayame to blush. He may not look like it, but Naruto is a true charmer. If it wasn't for his sarcastic wit and bluntness toward people, he would have a bigger fan club than Uchiha Sasuke. Uruka thought as he sweat dropped from his former student's charms. Here you go, 2 miso ramen, on the house thanks to Naruto's graduation. Tuki, the owner of the ramen shop, sighed as he hands the ramen to the two men. You didn't have to do that, sir. Besides, you are running a business and you need all the money you can get. Naruto protested, not wanting to get the ramen for free. Don't worry about it, consider this as a favor for one of my best customers. Tuki replied. Thank you very much, Oji-san. Naruto said humbly and then proceed to eat the ramen. Uruka, Uruka, a person yelled. When Uruka turned around, he saw a brown-haired Chunin heading toward him. What is it? Uruka asked surprised. It's Mizuki. He stole the forbidden scrolls from the Hokage tower. The Chunin answered frantically, shocking both Naruto and Uruka. All right, I'll be right there. Uruka said and the Chunin nodded before heading off. Uruka-sensei, let me come with you. Naruto asked. I appreciate the help Naruto, but this is a matter beyond your hands. I will not allow a genin to be mixed in these things. Uruka said, rejecting the offer. You must let me come with you. Mizuki, by stealing from the Hokage, has betrayed the code of this village and thus needs to be punished. If I am to become Hokage, then I need to prove myself, and finding Mizuki is the best way to do so as a ninja of this village. Naruto said with a tone of one that will not take no for an answer. Naruto, Uruka says, shocked at the vigor his usually calm student displayed, and then sighed, all right Naruto, you can come with me. Uruka finally said, defeated. The two then head off in search of Mizuki, who meanwhile was running in the forest. Yes, finally the scroll is mine. With this, I'll be able to gain immense power and crush all those who stand in my way. Ha, 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 ha. Mizuki laughed as he continued to run through the forest before he is then kicked in the face by Uruka, who intercepted him along with Naruto. Hey Mizuki, here's a tip. Laughing to yourself out loud will make it easier to find you, and on top of that, it makes you look retarded. Naruto said with a smirk. You're not going anywhere, Mizuki. Uruka said. Uruka. Mizuki says, but then sees Naruto nearby, and growled, Naruto. It was no secret that Mizuki loathed Naruto for carrying the demon fox and tried to fail him multiple times, but no matter how many times he tried, he just could not rattle the young man, and that irritated Mizuki even more. Great job figuring out this shortcut, Naruto. Uruka grinned and gave his thumbs up to his student. It was nothing, sensei. Just the most logical choice. Naruto said deadpanned, and you, what kind of dumbass actually steals from the Hokage himself? Geez, no wonder I never learned anything from you, Mizuki-sensei. Naruto said, saying the sensei part sarcastically. Urusei, Gaki, Mizuki yelled. Now Mizuki, drop the scrolls now and come with us. Uruka asked the blue-haired Chunin. Never, and besides, I can't drop them since I'm not here. Mizuki grinned and then poofed away. A Bushin, Naruto and Uruka both exclaimed, shocked. He must have created one when you hit him so he can fool us and hide away. Naruto said. But where did he go? Uruka asked as the two looked around. This is bad. This forest allows him perfect hiding place, and if I remember, there was a huge shuriken on that Bushin's back, which means he does have one as well and can use this forest as a way to throw it without being detected. Naruto analyzed. He then suddenly felt something coming his way and turned around to see a large shuriken heading his way, and thus ducked to avoid it. That was close. Naruto whispered. Naruto, get out of the way. Another one is heading your way. Uruka yelled, and Naruto turned his head and saw another coming his way. Another one. But he only has one. Unless, he must have created a replication of it and threw the first one and then threw the second one as soon as I dodged the first one, thus putting me a horrible position to defend myself. Naruto thought. I won't be able to dodge it. Is this truly the end for me? Am I going to die without reaching my goals? Naruto said mentally, closed his eyes, and braced himself for the shuriken, but the blow never came, and when he opened his eyes, he saw Uruka hunched over him with the shuriken on his back. No, Uruka-sensei. Naruto says in disbelief and shock at what just happened. You must think what I just did was stupid, wasn't it? That it wasn't the most logical choice, huh? But you have to understand something, Naruto. The reason I did this was because I believe in you. Uruka began to explain. Believe in me? Naruto repeated. Yes, I believe in you, Naruto. I believe that you will become Hokage because I see one in you, and as the older generation, have to protect the dreams of the next generation no matter what the cost. And also, you've become the little brother I never had, and what kind of older brother would I be if I let my Otudo die without even reaching his dreams? Uruka says with a smile and coughed some blood. How touching, Uruka. Too bad you did it for the demon boy. Mizuki grinned as he came out from his hiding place. Pathetic, really, that he decided to sacrifice his life for someone as worthless as you, but then again, this is what happens when you are a sentimental fool. Mizuki grinned darkly. How dare you hurt Uruka-sensei? Naruto growled as he put Uruka's body on the ground and then pulled out the shuriken from the teacher's back and threw it aside. There are two types of people I hate, Mizuki. People that treat others unfairly, and traitors, and you, Mizuki, are the latter. Naruto says, glaring at the teacher with a cold glare. Oh, and? Mizuki asked with a wry tone. My dream, no ambition, is to become Hokage and also revive the Namikaze clan as its leader, and to do that, I have to prove myself as a ninja, and I will do so by crushing you, Mizuki, until you no longer retain a human form. Naruto shouted in pure anger. Quit talking big, demon. There's no way you can beat me. Mizuki laughed. That's what you think, Mizuki, but you're wrong. I will defeat you. Naruto replied. Then bring it on. Mizuki hollered. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Naruto whispered, and then does a handseal and over 100 clones appear. What's going on? Mizuki asked, frightened at the number of clones. Here's your punishment, Mizuki. Naruto says, and then he sends his clones all on Mizuki, who ends up being beaten to a pulp. Uruka-sensei, Uruka-sensei. Uruka heard as he woke up and saw Naruto next to him. Naruto, you're alright? Uruka asked his student. I'm alright, sensei, though I wouldn't say the same for you, you're still wounded from that shuriken. Naruto replied. It's okay, but what about Mizuki? Uruka asked as he wondered about the traitor. He's been incapacitated for right now. Naruto answered, and Uruka looked up to Naruto's direction and saw the pile of flesh that was Mizuki and winced and made a mental note to never anger the young blonde. Naruto, it looks like you will have a bright future ahead of you. Uruka thought as he looked at Naruto. Alright, sensei. Let's go, we have to bring the scroll back to Gigi and get you to the hospital. Naruto says as he puts Uruka on his shoulders. No matter what, I'm very proud of you, Naruto. Iruka says. Arigato, Iruka-sensei. Naruto says, a little embarrassed, and then adds mentally, and thank you for believing in me. Ring, ring, ring. The alarm sounded off and Naruto shut the alarm off. Well, time to start the day. I really hope nothing stupid happens. Naruto said as he got off his bed, revealing a muscular chest with scars on it as he was only dressed in gray boxers. He goes and takes a shower and then puts on his clothes and made a cereal dish. He then makes a small prayer and eats it and afterwards heads out with his headband on his right arm. He continues to walk until he arrives at the clearing where the stone that was created for heroes and those killed in action was located. However, he was not the only there as Hatake Kakashi was there as well. Yo Kakashi, what's up? Naruto said as he greeted the man. Yo Naruto, came here to see your parents? Kakashi asked. Yep, pretty much. Naruto said as he walked up to his father and mother's graves and closed his eyes. Otosan, Kasan, I'm finally a genin, and soon I will meet my team, and be one step sooner to my goals. I will make you proud, don't worry. Naruto said mentally. He then opened his eyes and then started to leave for the academy, and as he did, Kakashi was looking at him go. I wonder how interesting it will be to teach Sensei's son. Kakashi thought as he reminisced about his meeting with the Hokage. Flashback. So this is Naruto's files, huh? Kakashi said as he was looking through the files of Naruto that the Hokage gave him. Yes, they are. From when you met him 4 years ago, you may have noticed how he is exactly like his father, correct? The Hokage asked as he was smoking from his pipe. Yeah, he's a genius and a smart ass like his dad, alright. Kakashi replied as he remembered how Minato used to act. And not only that, but like his father, he possessed the same wind affinity and has a high talent for ninjutsu, even being able to perform a Kei's Shunshin no Jutsu. And finally, he sent Mizuki to the hospital in a coma, the Hokage explained, the last part with a smile as he was proud of the young blonde's achievements. I knew about the Mizuki incident, but I did not know he already knew Shunshin no Jutsu and even made an elemental version of it. He is truly like his father when it comes to ninjutsu. Kakashi said, quite surprised at the blonde, but then that should not be a surprise considering that the child had already learned the basic exercises of wind affinity at age 8. So, I decided to put him on your team so that way you can help him. And I also decided to put the Uchiha and Haruno on his team as well. The Hokage said. The Uchiha and Haruno, are you trying to make my team a well-rounded team? Kakashi asks. You can say that. With Naruto's high aptitude in ninjutsu, Sasuke's in taijutsu and Sakura's in genjutsu, they can not only learn from another very well but pretty much can be a force to be reckoned with. Also, it has been reported to me by Iruka that all three of them are very good friends, especially Sasuke and Naruto, who are rivals as well. The Hokage explained. This looks like it's going to be fun. Kakashi says with a smile that was shown on his mask. End flashback. Okay, Ka-san, I'm leaving now to find out who my team is. I'll be back later this afternoon. Sakura said as she then closed the door and then headed off. On the way, she met Ino, her best friend who was leaving her house as well. So Sakura, ready for our big day? Ino asked. I don't know, I did review the entire curriculum of our entire 4-year program, so I should be ready for the team meetings today. Sakura answered, making Ino sweat drop at her answer and look at her quizzically. What, is something wrong, Ino-chan? Sakura asked. You do realize that we are only going to meet our teams, right, Sakura? Ino asked. I know, but I just wanted to be ready for anything. Sakura replied sheepishly. Just admit that you just wanted to read for the heck of it, bookworm. Ino grinned. I guess so. Sakura replied, scratching the back of her head, but then flinched when Ino got real close to her. What's going on? Sakura asked. So Sakura, when are you and Naruto going to go to second base? Ino asked with a smirk. Ino, we're not like that. Sakura replied with a reddened face. Oh please, Everyone in the whole school knows you guys love each other and have been dating for 4 years now. Ino said. And what about you? Huh? Aren't you dating someone right now? Sakura asked, trying to change the subject. Please girl, Yamanaka Ino is Konoha's #1 single woman and tends to stay that way for a long time. Now back to you and Naruto. Ino said as she flipped the subject back to Sakura and Naruto. Ino. Sakura ed as she knew her friend would not let her off the hook that easily. Uchiha Sasuke put on his blue shirt with the Uchiha logo on the back, white shorts, blue shoes, headband, brown backpack and fingerless gloves before heading out of his apartment. Nice job on becoming a genin, Sasuke. The voice of a man said behind Sasuke. Why are you here? I thought you were going around, gathering information and techniques. Sasuke replied without ever turning his head around to look at the man. Don't be that cold, Sasuke. Can't someone congratulate their pupil? The man asked. Whatever, I'm going, Sasuke said smirking as he headed off. That kid, no respect for his elders. The man said, chuckling. Naruto entered the classroom where most of his classmates were already staying in their seats. He then walked to far right row of the class and sat on an empty chair. Few minutes, Sasuke entered the classroom and sat down next to Naruto and immediately, everyone began to tense up. How cute. You're sitting next to me even though you can't hit me anymore. Naruto grinned. I hate you, Sasuke said, glaring at the boy. That's not what you said during our passionate love-making last night, Sasuke Uke. Naruto chuckled, causing the yaoi fangirls to once again squeal with hearts in their eyes. Shut the up Naruto and you girls mind your own business. Sasuke roared. Ah come on, lighten up Sasuke. In a few minutes, we're going to go our teams so we can begin our days at Genin's. The least you could do is become nicer. Naruto said. Like hell I will. Just you like you, I have a reputation to uphold. Sasuke said. What do you mean like me and what reputation are you talking about? Naruto asked. Just like you have your reputation for being a smart ass, I have my reputation for being a badass and badasses are not nice. Sasuke growled. So that's your reputation? I thought your reputation was that of a repressed emo homo. Naruto said with a grin. Just ignore what he said, just ignore it. Sasuke thought as he was telling him so in order to control his temper. Ohio, Sakura-chan, Naruto said as he saw Sakura come into the classroom along with Ino. Hello Naruto-kun. Sakura said with a small blush as she sat next to Naruto. Oh, hi Sasuke. Sakura said waving to the Uchiha heir who simply nodded back at her. Alright class. First off, I want to congratulate you for graduating and becoming genins. From this day on, you are official ninjas of this village and will need to go on missions to prove yourself to this village. Every year, when children become genins, they are put in teams of 3 and the same applies to this year as well. I will thus read off your name and the name of your teammates and your Junin instructor who you will meet later today. Uruka explained to the classroom. Team 1 will be Akira Sanada, Yuri Hashigawa, Jin Kazama. Team 2, Uruka said as he started to read off the team. Team 7 will be composed of, wow, I can't believe what I'm seeing but anyway. Team 7 will be composed of Namikaze Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Your Junin sensei will be Hatake Kakashi. Uruka said, causing a shock to nearly everyone as everyone in the classroom knew Naruto and Sasuke were tops in the class and Sakura was near the tops among the kunoichi. Must be the old man's doing, definitely gotta be it, not that I mind though. Naruto thought as he grinned. I don't mind being with those two, but I don't want to hold them back, especially Naruto-kun. Sakura said in her mind. Don't worry about it, we won't hold them back, Shanaru. Inner Sakura said to comfort her other self. I could care less who is in my team as long as I get the chance to go on missions and get stronger though with these two, I won't be held back though I wish she was on my team. Sasuke also contemplated in his mind. Team 8 will be composed of Inuzuka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata and Abarame Shino. Your Junin instructor is Yuahi Kuranai. Team 10 will be composed of Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, and Akamichi Choji. Your Junin instructor is Sarutobi Asuma. Uruka said, and suddenly, a groan could be heard from Ino. Damn it, why do I have to be stuck with these two useless buffoons? Ino yelled out and pointed to both teammates. That's because the teams were arranged this way and that's that, Yamanaka. So I suggest you be quiet and get used to them. Uruka answered sternly, shutting the girl down. Life is not fair, Ino said, slumped on her desk. Like I'm going to enjoy this any better myself. Your voice can probably wake up the dead, and having to deal with this for a long while is going to be so troublesome. Shikamaru countered. What did you just say, you lazy ass? Ino roared. Ino, Uruka said, causing the girl to shut up and Shikamaru to snicker while Choji was eating his chips. As the hours went by, the Junin instructors came to pick up their teams, until there was only one team left, Team 7, who were not pleased with their sensei being late. In fact, Sasuke was about to kill someone. Damn it, how long does it take for a Junin to get here? Sasuke yelled angrily. He then turned to Naruto and had a manic look in his face. Naruto, Sasuke began to say. Don't even think about it, Sasuke. I'm not going to fight you. Naruto said, crashing down on the Uchiha's plans. That's it, I'm going to eat now. Sasuke said as he then took out a bento box from his book bag and started to eat from it. Sasuke, that bento box looks so cute. Sakura said as she noticed his well-made box. Yeah, Sasuke. Who made it for you, your girlfriend? Naruto snickered, but then both Sakura and Naruto were surprised when Sasuke nearly choked on his food upon hearing the word girlfriend, and even blushed. Okay, Sasuke, what's her name? Naruto asked, grinning as he wanted to hear the juicy info. Naruto-kun, I don't think it's right to ask him such a question. Sakura said. Ah, come on, Sakura-chan. What's wrong with me, as a teammate no less, wanting to know the name of Sasuke's girlfriend? Naruto replied. Shut up, Naruto. I'm not telling you anything. Sasuke said. You're no fun. Naruto pouted. Anyway, this sensei better come quick or else I'm shoving a kunai up his, Naruto said. I'm sure he has a good explanation to why he is late anyway. Sakura said. That damn sensei better get Hisher right now or he's dead, Shanaru. Inner Sakura, on the other hand, said. He better or else he's toast. Sasuke growled as he returned to his seat. Achoo. Someone must be talking about me, hopefully a pretty lady, Kakashi said as he sneezed on his way toward the classroom. He opens the door, and was about to greet his team but then was met by three young genins glaring at him, and if looks could kill, Kakashi would be dead by now. Oh. Okay. My name is Hitaki Kakashi and I'm your Junin sensei. Sorry if I'm late, but I had to help an old lady escape from a burning building. Kakashi said as he introduced himself. Really? You had 3 hours and 20 minutes to come up with an excuse and this is the best you could come up? My god, you. Not only do you come late, you can't even come up with a decent excuse, and what's worse, it wasn't even funny. What are we going to do with you, huh, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto said and then shook his head in disappointment. Alright then, team, meet me on the roof now. Kakashi said, ignoring Naruto's comment, and then poofs away. The genins then walked up all the way to the roof where their sensei was waiting for them. Alright team, we're first going to start this meeting with introductions. Kakashi says. Introductions? Sakura repeated, confused. Yeah, introductions. You basically tell me your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and goals. Kakashi explained. Well, since you were late and we know shit about you, how about you start first, sensei? Sasuke asked with a smirk. Looks like we got a potty mouth here. Anyway, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. My likes, dislikes, and hobbies are none of your business, and my goals are also none of your business. Kakashi said. Wow, that was the most incredible speech I have ever heard in my entire life. Nothing sort of amazing, Naruto said as he even clapped his hands a couple of times. Note to self, go to a therapist in order to prepare for a barrage of sarcastic insults at the hands of a mini version of your sensei. Kakashi thought. Alright, let's start with you Blondie. Kakashi said. That was actually clever, Kakashi-sensei. There is hope for you after all. Naruto said, causing his sensei to glare at him before he resumed, my full name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. My likes are training, ramen, Sakura-chan, my parents, and pissing people off. My dislikes are traitors, people that treat others unfairly, and evil. My hobbies are to create new ninjutsu techniques, read, and coming up with new ways to piss people off. My goals, no, my ambition is to become the strongest Hokage to ever live, create a new clan for my family, and become Konoha's most legendary smartass. Naruto said, finishing with a grin. We're doomed. Kakashi thought. Alright, you're next Blossom. Kakashi says to Sakura. My name is Haruno Sakura. My likes are learning about medicine, plants, and Naruto-kun, Sakura says and slightly looks at Naruto before continuing, my dislikes are unfair people, bullies. My hobbies are growing new plants, read books, and helping out with the kids at the orphanage. My goal is to become a strong kunoichi and medic nin. Sakura finished. It seems she has a crush on our Namikaze, but at least she shows a lot more focus on her kunoichi training than most girls her age does, Kakashi thought. Alright, you're last, Uchiha. Kakashi said to Sasuke. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. My likes are fighting and learning new fighting styles. My dislikes are annoying people, weaklings. My hobby is training, beating the shit out of people that piss me off, Sasuke said only to be interrupted by Naruto. Which is basically 97 of all of Konoha. Naruto said. Shut up Naruto. Anyway, my ambition is to become the strongest Uchiha that ever lived and also revive my clan. Sasuke finished. Very interesting, though underneath it all, one can still see his need for revenge, but it's nice to see he has not allowed it completely rule his life. Kakashi said mentally. Alright guys, thank you for your introductions. Now, what are we going to do next is going lots of fun. Kakashi grinned. What do you mean by fun, sensei? Sakura asked a little worried. What I mean is that we are going to have ourselves a little training and survival exercise, just the four of us. Kakashi revealed. But we already did something like this back in the academy, sensei. Sakura said. On top of that, why is this necessary when you already know our capabilities from our academy reports? Naruto added. And besides, shouldn't we be starting on mission instead of wasting on some stupid exercises? Sasuke asked. The reason for this is that these exercises you took in the academy were only child's play compared to this one. This time, you will be up against me, a Junin, in the real world. And also, out of the 27 graduates, only 9 will become genins while the others are sent back, thus giving this entire test a 66 dropout rate. Kakashi explained grimly, leaving the genins shocked. That's insane, Sakura said. Now you got me interested, sensei. Sasuke grinned. So I will determine if you are worthy or not of becoming ninjas tomorrow at the training grounds. Bring your ninja equipment and meet at 5 a.m. Kakashi instructed and was about to leave when. Bullshit. Naruto blurted out. What do you mean by that, Naruto? Kakashi asked. There's no way in hell you're showing up at 5 a.m. I mean, you couldn't even come to a 12 o'clock meeting on time. Naruto said. Just come at 5 a.m., I'll be on time, I promise. Kakashi sighed before leaving. I know he's lying for sure, but still, this is the chance I've been waiting for. Naruto thought. I can't let the others down. I have to pass this test so I can finally become a kunoichi and prove that I'm worth something to her. Sakura thought. There's no way I'm failing this test. Sasuke thought as he shook with anticipation. Later, we see Naruto walking down the street heading for his apartment when he suddenly stopped. Then, a young boy with brown hair in a ponytail and wearing a yellow shirt, beige pants, blue scarf, and a headgear came out of the fence as he was hiding in a cloak. Holy crap, it's a midget. Oh no, it's just Konohamaru. Naruto said in mock surprise. As witty as ever, Naruto Aniki. Konohamaru said. Spill it, kid, what do you want now? Naruto asked. I want you to teach that heroic no jutsu technique you used on my old man the other day. Konohamaru exclaimed. Oh me. Listen, kid, I don't have time to teach you such a stupid technique. Naruto said as he remembered that Konohamaru had stumbled upon him using that technique. The Hokage had wanted him to take a serious pose for his picture of identification, but Naruto refused and in the end performed the technique to disorient the perverted Hokage only for Konohamaru to walk into it. Why do you want to learn it anyway? Naruto asked. Because you were able to defeat the Hokage with it easily. With that technique, I'll be able to finally beat my old man. Konohamaru answered. You beat the Hokage? Naruto asked before he started to laugh. Yeah, that'll happen, when hell freezes over. Naruto said as he continued to laugh. I'm serious. I am going to beat that old man. Konohamaru said. Alright, don't get all pissy on me. Come with me, I'll teach you the jutsu. Naruto said and Konohamaru quickly nodded and walked along with him. The two then finally stopped in front of a woman's only hot springs. Naruto Aniki, why are we stopping in front of a hot springs for women only? Konohamaru asked. You'll see. Come on. Naruto said and the young boy followed. They were able to sneak past the register and entered one of the hot springs, catching the women by surprise. What the heck do you think you're doing, perverts? One of the women asked. We're conducting research for a technique and thus we need one of you to show us your body we can memorize down important information. Naruto said bluntly. No way. Get out of here now. The woman screamed, enraged. Listen ladies, the faster we do this, the faster we can leave and how about this? As a bonus, I'll even give you guys a massage for free. Naruto said. Wow Naruto Aniki. I have never seen things like this before. Konohamaru said with his face all red. Yeah and I can't believe how much money I made with these massages and also the phone numbers I got. Naruto said smirking. So, am I going to learn it now? Konohamaru asked. Yep. Naruto said as they then stopped in a training field. Now all you have to do is transform into a woman using what you have seen in the hot springs, okay? Naruto said. Okay. Henge. Konohamaru said. Where is he? Where is young master Konohamaru? Ebisu thought as he was looking for Konohamaru everywhere. I knew I should have never went peeping while watching over him. He's probably with that smart-mouthed nine-tails brat. Ebisu thought. It's official Konohamaru, you have no talent whatsoever as a ninja. Naruto said looking bored as the boy had yet to create a perfect transformation. It's not my fault. Every time I try to do it, I lose my concentration and mess up. Konohamaru complained. Look, I'll show you once okay? Naruto said before transforming into a young blonde girl with clouds covering her privates and pigtails and whisker marks. He then undid the jutsu. See? Not so hard is it? Naruto said. There you are, Konohamaru. Ebisu said as he arrived, and it seems you're with that dangerous boy here. Ebisu added. Who the hell are you? Naruto asked. My name is Ebisu and I'm an elite Junin teacher. I was assigned by the Hokage himself to train his honorable grandson. Ebisu said with a hint of pride. Stop calling me that, and besides, I'm training with Naruto Aniki. Konohamaru said. And what can that boy possibly teach you that I can't? Ebisu asked with a smirk. This technique. Heroic no jutsu, why no jutsu? Konohamaru said and transformed into a young woman with brown hair and was totally uncovered by smoke to hide her privates. Such a foolish technique will not work against me. Ebisu said, smirking. No way, why didn't it work? Konohamaru asked as he undid the jutsu. Step aside and let me show you how it's done, kid. Naruto said. He then created a mass amount of shadow clones, and then he and all of the clones transformed into their Y no jutsu forms. We call it the Harem no jutsu. So Ebisu-san, what do you think? Naruto and his clones all said as they winked at him and then started to rub on him. Ebisu lost control and then was knocked high into the sky by a massive nosebleed. The Narutos grinned and then Naruto undid all of his clones and returned to normal. That was so awesome, Naruto and Ikki. Can you teach me that too? Konohamaru asked. Sorry kid, I gotta go. Besides, how the heck are you gonna get stronger if you keep asking other people to teach you jutsus? Naruto asked. What do you mean by that? Konohamaru asked. What I mean is that if you want to make your own path, you have to do it on your own. No one is going to help you get stronger except for you and you only. So stop asking people to teach you jutsus all the time and invent your own jutsus. Naruto said. Okay. Naruto and Ikki. I'll do that from now on and create my own awesome jutsus. Konohamaru said. Naruto waved to the kid and headed back to his apartment. Sunset turned into night as everyone went to sleep except for 3 people. 324 quintillion 325 quadrillion 326 trillion 327 billion 328 million 329,330. Sasuke said as he had completed 331 handed push-ups. He then wiped the sweat off his forehead and drank from a bottle of water before looking at a picture of his family, and his face started to sadden. Don't worry, I'll make things right. Sasuke said. Alright, I finally completed all of my books. Sakura said as she took off her glasses and breathed a sigh of relief, I'll be able to pass this test now. Sakura said with a smile. Kunais, check. Shurikens, check. Jutsu scrolls, check. I think I'll be ready for this test. Naruto said. Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke all arrive at the training ground the next day nearly half asleep. Hey, they all said to each other. 4 hours later, they were nearly sleeping when suddenly, Kakashi appeared. Ohio Mina, hi everyone. Kakashi said as he arrived on the grounds. You're late. They all shouted at him. Sorry, but an old lady needed help from a group of bandits that were attacking her, and Kakashi began to say but then stopped as his students were glaring at him and not buying his lie, causing him to sweat drop. Okay, moving on. The first test will be a training test. The objective is simple, all you have to do is fight with everything you got. If you can last with me for 10 minutes, you will pass the test. Simple to understand, right? Kakashi smiled. Simple to understand, but not simple to accomplish. I can feel it, he's definitely not your average Junin. Naruto thought. If there are no questions, let's begin. Uchiha Sasuke, you're up. Kakashi said and the Uchiha grinned. It's about time. I've been itching to kick your, Sasuke said with a grin as he walked up to his sensei. Don't get too why, kid. Kakashi said. Sasuke smirked as he got into his stance and stared at his sensei. 2 meters, that's my best range. If I am further than that, I won't have nearly as much success. But that guy is a Junin, which means he's an elite and thus won't let me get close to him easily, which means I'll have to find a way to close the distance. Sasuke thought. Uchiha Sasuke, his strength and speed are above that of a normal genin and his taijutsu is said to be the top of his class. If he wants to achieve maximum damage, then he'll have to get close to me, probably about 2 to 3 meters at best, and he probably already knows I'm not going to let him get that close so easily. Kakashi thought. Here I come. Sasuke yelled out and started to do some seals and then reared back as he breathed in. Kaden, Gukyaku no Jutsu, Grand Fireball Technique. Sasuke yelled out and fired a huge fiery blast at Kakashi. Raiden. Musei Raiko no Jutsu, Lightning Release, Silent Lightning Technique. Kakashi whispered as the fireball engulfed him. Not bad for a fire jutsu. Naruto said. But do you think he got Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. Not a chance. Naruto replied with a smirk, and on cue, Kakashi was nowhere to be found. Where is he? Sasuke thought as he looked around for his sensei, and then he quickly ducked as Kakashi was behind and tried to hit him with a right roundhouse kick to the head. Good reflexes. Oh wait. This isn't good at all. Kakashi thought as he realized something. You're in my range, Sasuke said with a grin and then unleashed a volley of punches at Kakashi, who was forced to block. I was careless. I thought I could have had him with my silent lightning technique, which allows me to use lightning chakra to cloak myself and thus allowing me to move unnoticed. But in reality, it was part of his trap. He knew he couldn't close the distance, but he knew I could close the distance. So in actuality, he anticipated that I would evade his previous technique and try to counter him at close range. Kakashi thought as he analyzed the string of events. Ryu Senpu, Dragon Hurricane. Sasuke yelled and jumped in the air and throws 2 spinning kicks at Kakashi, who was able to block them. I'm not done yet. Dragon Cutter. Sasuke yells and then brings his right leg down like an axe and strikes Kakashi upside the head with it. No way. Sasuke got Kakashi-sensei. Sakura said, surprised. No, he missed. Naruto countered. Sakura looked confused for a second until Kakashi turned into a piece of log. Kawarini. Sakura said in surprise. Shit. Where is he? Sasuke cursed angrily as he looked for his sensei. Behind you. Kakashi simply said as he reappeared behind the Uchiha and then connected with a kick to the ribs, knocking the boy away. He was able to twist his body a bit in order to lessen the blow of my kick. Impressive. Kakashi thought as he saw his student get back up. Damn it all, I can't hit him. Sasuke said as he got up, grunting in pain from the kick. So far, Sasuke, I'm not impressed. Your report said you were the best in taijutsu in your entire class, even surpassing the Inakusa and Akamichi heirs, who both come from clans who possess tremendous aptitude for taijutsu, but it looks to me as if the reports, which I am not surprised since the Uchihas were always better at ninjutsu than taijutsu. Kakashi explained. Don't get too comfortable, sensei. I was just warming up. Sasuke said with a smirk. Baka. Kakashi replied with a glare, surprising his student. In the world of the shinobi, one doesn't have time to play around in combat. When 2 people fight, they usually fight to the death, and in those situations, it's the one who strikes the quickest that wins. Playing around will only allow your opponent more time to live and also more time to adapt to your strategy until they find a way to kill you, even though they should have been dead a long time ago. Kakashi explained. Fine, if you want me to go all serious, then that's what I will do. Hyakyaku, swift leg. Sasuke said and then instantly reappeared behind Kakashi before anyone could register it. He's so fast now, Sakura exclaimed. But what is that technique? Naruto asked. Kakashi turned around and prepared to block Sasuke's incoming left hook when the former disappeared again and reappeared in front of Kakashi and delivered a sweep kick. Fortunately, Kakashi was able to flip away to avoid, but as soon as he stood back up, Sasuke was right behind and threw a Ryu Senpu, which Kakashi was able to block. Sasuke then puts one to the ground to keep from falling to the ground and then shot his left foot up to try to knock Kakashi in the air from under his chin, but the Junin was able to back up slightly to avoid the blow. An opening, Kakashi said as he then threw a right hook at Sasuke, who jumped back to avoid the blow but then was stunned by an unknown force, which then allowed Kakashi to knock him back about 5 meters with a roundhouse kick to the face. What the hell was that? It was as if I was shocked by some electric force or something. Sasuke thought as he stood back up. That movement technique, did you create it all by yourself? Kakashi asked. Yeah, I did, Sasuke replied. It's pretty impressive for someone from the academy. You basically stomp on the ground 4 times and use that momentum along with chakra activity to make you move that fast, as if you magically disappear, like Shunshin no Jutsu but faster. Kakashi said. It's definitely faster than my K's Shunshin no Jutsu, that's for sure. Naruto said. I knew Sasuke was good at taijutsu but never this good. Sakura said. I always knew that. However, what I want to know is how Kakashi was able to paralyze Sasuke without even touching him. Naruto said. And that taijutsu, you trained with Maeda Guy, haven't you? Kakashi asked. Yes. And despite his freakish attitude and even freakier student, he is one hell of a teacher. Sasuke answered. Achoo. Meta Guy sneezed while in the midst of training with his team. What's wrong, Guy-sensei? Lee asked. Oh, nothing. For some strange reasons, someone has mentioned me. Guy answered. Could it be that they are thanking you for influencing them with your flames of youth, sensei? Lee asked, ecstatic. Of course, that is the only explanation. They were so touched by my flames of youth that they spoke my name as a way to thank me. You're such a genius, Lee, that's why you're my precious student. Guy said, and then tears started to stream down from his face. Guy-sensei, Lee said, also with tears streaming down his face. Lee. Guy replied, and then both teacher and student hugged each other as for some unbelievable reason, a sunset appeared in the background along with water waves. Why did we have to be stuck with these two morons? Neji asked, embarrassed by the way the teacher and student were acting. Because someone hates us and wants us to suffer. Ten answered, and they both sigh. This time, you're mine. Sasuke said, and then disappeared once more and then reappeared right in front of Kakashi, and before the latter could react, Sasuke fired a point-blank fireball at him, engulfing him. Great job burning up our sensei, Sasuke. Naruto said. Oops, maybe I did go a bit too overboard. Sasuke said, laughing nervously. Raiden. Reigaken lightning release, lightning fang fist. Kakashi as he was coming from above with his left fist engulfed in electricity. Sasuke was able to dodge it to his right and Kakashi ended up punching the ground, leaving a big hole. You're in my range again, sensei. Sasuke said with a grin as he was about to hit Kakashi with a roundhouse kick, only for Kakashi to bring his left fist upward from the ground and then smacked Sasuke in the face with a left hook uppercut, knocking the boy back about 8 meters. Thought you had me, didn't you, Sasuke? Kakashi asked. Yeah, I could imagine you being a burned corpse by now. How the hell did you escape my fireball from point-blank range? I even used it in combination with Hyakyaku technique. Sasuke asked, frustrated. It's simple really. I was able to read your seals while you were performing your high-speed technique and thus allowed me to react accordingly. Kakashi said. No way. You were able to actually keep up with both my sealing speed and movement speed. Sasuke asked in disbelief. Precisely. It was not a bad tactic to be honest, but if your opponent can read your seals then they can anticipate your technique and thus react accordingly. Kakashi said. That makes sense, but one thing I need to ask. How were you able to paralyze me without even landing a blow on me in our previous exchange? Sasuke asked. Because of my lightning chakra, of course. Kakashi said as he emitted electricity around his right hand. Of course. Electricity can not only shock but also paralyze a person's body, rendering them immobile. Sakura said. And of course, I mask that electricity with my chakra in order to make it invisible to the human eye so that way you wouldn't notice my trick. Kakashi said. So you're not just a person with chronic tardiness, huh, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto said. Anyway, Kakashi said, ignoring Naruto's smart comment with great restraint, you've passed this exam. You showed great capacity in becoming a genin and that is what I wanted to test. Now up next is Sakura-chan. Kakashi said. Me? Sakura asked, nervous. I do believe we only have one Sakura in our team. Kakashi said. Don't worry Sakura-chan, you'll be just fine. I mean, if Sasuke Baka here could go toe-to-toe then someone much smarter than him can easily do the same. Naruto said, grinning as he knew he had earned a glare from the Uchiha heir. If Naruto-kun believes in me, then that means I can do it. Sakura thought as she gained her resolve and then walked up to her sensei. Then, Kakashi jumped back a couple of meters to put even more distance between them. Why did Kakashi just do that? Sasuke asked. It's because Sakura is a genjutsu-type shinobi. The maximum range for a genjutsu is about 10 meters exact, and so for Kakashi to avoid falling into one, he decided to stay out of that range. Right now, he's about 13 meters from Sakura. Naruto explained. But wait a minute, genjutsu is simply an illusionary technique that confuses the 5 senses, right? So why the need for distance? Sasuke asked. Because genjutsu requires the caster to emit chakra from their body into the opponent's body to take effect. By staying away from the caster, you have a higher chance of evading that chakra flow. Naruto explained. Ready, sensei? Sakura asked. Ready as I'll ever be. Kakashi replied, no matter what genjutsu it is, she'll never be able to hit me with it. A genjutsu's maximum distance is 10 meters at best and the distance between me and her is approximately 15 meters. Kakashi thought, but then his eyes widened as Sakura dissolved into Sakura petals, and then he found himself in a forest full of Sakura petals on the ground and Sakura trees. What in the world? She got me with a genjutsu from that distance. But how? Kakashi thought, and he then tried to cancel the genjutsu but found himself stuck in it. I can't release the genjutsu. Kakashi thought. Suddenly, petals flew around him and started to cut him in the arms and legs. Kakashi tried to cancel the genjutsu again and again as he avoided the petals but found himself unable to do so. This genjutsu is unlike anything I have seen so far. Usually, the maximum range for a genjutsu is 10 meters at max, and hence why I distanced myself to an exact distance of 15 meters. And also, I made sure not to look at her eyes in case it was an eye-induced genjutsu and made sure to watch out for anything that would reveal the genjutsu. I took all of the precautions and yet I was caught in her genjutsu, and what's worse is that I can't release it. Kakashi thought, but then his eyes widened as he realized something. Flashback. Ready, sensei? Sakura asked. Ready as I'll ever be. Kakashi replied. End flashback. She caught me as soon as she said those words. That was the activation for her genjutsu. Kakashi thought as he figured out what happened. Okay, let's review this. Her genjutsu is obviously longer than most genjutsus and she activated it via her voice. Also, this genjutsu can't be cancelled like any other genjutsu, which means that in order to cancel it, I have to find the caster and weaken or defeat them. As we speak, she is probably hiding in a spot in order to attack my weak point and defeat me, which means I have to fish her out now. Kakashi thought, and he then closed his eyes and electricity started to emit from his hands. Not too far from Kakashi's location, Sakura was behind a tree as she was observing her sensei. He doesn't seem to be doing much in terms of movement, but should I attack now? I could, since I have the advantage, but what if he has built up his defenses already? I could be walking right into a trap, but if I don't do anything, he'll find me sooner or later. I have no choice, I have to attack. Sakura thought and then started to silently walk from tree to tree and then transformed into a flurry of sharp petals that flew and surrounded Kakashi and kept cutting him. Then Sakura's right arm came out of the flurry of petals with a kunai in hand and pointed to Kakashi's neck. It's over, Kakashi-sensei. Sakura said. Suddenly, Kakashi then turned into a piece of log, surprising Sakura, and before she knew it, Kakashi grabbed her arm and pulled it, effectively canceling her transformation, and then pointed a kunai to her throat. Cancel the genjutsu now or else. Kakashi warned her. Damn, I have no choice. He has the advantage now. Sakura thought and then cancelled the genjutsu. It looks Sakura-chan was able to hit Kakashi with a genjutsu from beyond the normal range. Naruto said. I wonder how though. Sasuke said. That genjutsu you used was incredible. Not many people used genjutsus of that nature, and the way you activate it was pretty clever and its range is also incredible. Kakashi said. Thank you, sensei. However, how did you know I was going to attack? Sakura asked. By using my Raiko Harem, lightning wire. Kakashi said. Lightning wire? Sakura asked. I basically manipulated my lightning chakra and turned it into thin electric wires that are extremely hard to see via the eye. All a person has to do is slightly touch them and it will automatically warn me of an incoming enemy. You probably felt a small shock on your way to my location, right? Kakashi asked. Come to think of it, I did, but it was so minuscule that I paid no attention to it. Sakura said. And that small shock was my wire. I then placed a Kawarini trap and hid myself using my Musei Raiko no Jutsu until I had a clear shot at you. Kakashi explained. Okay then, let's try another tactic. Sakura said. That's enough for now. Kakashi said, interrupting the girl. What do you mean? I barely did anything and I have so many other techniques to try. I mean, I studied all of those books for this test. Sakura said as she pulled out dozens of books from her book bag, causing the others to look at her wide-eyed. How many books do you own, Sakura? Sasuke asked, flabbergasted. Let's see, about 300. Sakura answered. 300? The others exclaimed. I know, it's not enough, is it? Sakura asked. It's more than enough. The others exclaimed. Anyway, Sakura, your skills with that genjutsu showed me all I needed to know, and the fact is that you have passed the first test as well. Kakashi said. Up next is the smart ass. Kakashi said as he now turned his attention to Namikaze Naruto. About time. By the way, Sakura-chan, great job on the genjutsu. Naruto said to the girl as she was returning to her spot. Wish me luck, guys. Naruto said and then walked toward Kakashi. Now, I finally get the chance to see what the son of Sensei can do. Kakashi thought, with a hint of anticipation and pride as he saw the living legacy of his sensei in the flesh. If he is truly like Sensei, then he has used the bouts with his teammates as scouting reports on my abilities and formulated strategies to counter them. Kakashi thought. Hatake Kakashi, despite being good at taijutsu, he's a ninjutsu type shinobi, and with the jutsus he has used so far, and also, he has strong defensive jutsus and offensive jutsus on top of that, and what's worse is that I don't know his exact range. It seems I only have one course of action. Naruto thought, and then did the seal for the Kage Bushin and created 3 clones. Kage Bushin, Kage Bushin is a Junin level ninjutsu that has 3 purposes. 1. To overpower the opponent with mass numbers. 2. To gather information on the opponent. 3. To use it as a diversion to create an opening. Now, let's see which way he goes. Kakashi thought. Okay, clones, let's do it. Naruto said, and he, along with the clones, dispersed themselves. Suddenly, one of the clones dashed toward Kakashi. Ninpu. K's Yeba ninja art. Wind blade, the first clone yelled and then created a wind that came in the form of a sword and tried to slash Kakashi with it, but Kakashi was able to dodge the hit. Raiden. Reigaken no Jutsu. Kakashi yelled and then knocked the clone back about 10 meters with an electric right punch to the gut. He's making his clone stay longer than usual. Kakashi thought as the clone did not disappear. Fuden. K's Haoshi no Jutsu. Wind element. Wind wave pressure, the second clone said as he unleashed a blast of hot air at Kakashi with his left hand. Raiden. Reigaha no Jutsu, lightning release. Lightning fang wave technique. Kakashi said and then swiped his right upwards and unleashed a wave of lightning that traveled through the ground and cancelled the clone's technique. Fuden. Shippu ha no Jutsu, wind release. Hurricane wave technique. The third Naruto clone yelled and then unleashed a hurricane from his right fist at Kakashi, who jumped up in the air to avoid it. Now I've figured it out. He's a mid-range fighter. I used my Kage Bushin to test each possible range with a different jutsu, and even though he was able to counter my close range and mid-range attacks, he wasn't able to counter my last attack, or rather, he couldn't effectively. Ninjutsu can be executed from any range, but however, if they are executed away from their best range, then they become much weaker, and if he was long range, then he would have no problems pulling out a jutsu to counter my last jutsu at the distance between my clone and him, which means he is not effective at long range. And while he used a close range jutsu to defend against my first clone, his strongest jutsu was the one he used against my second clone, and thus proves he is a mid-range fighter at best. The problem is that I'm mid-range too, and also he is stronger than me, but I can still win. Naruto thought. Okay, clones, use whirlwind formation. Naruto said and the clones nodded. They then quickly started to move randomly around Kakashi at high speed while Naruto went through some seals. What is he planning with those clones? Kakashi thought. Fuden. K's Haoshi no Jutsu. Wind element. Wind wave pressure, Naruto yelled and fired off his technique once again. Kakashi tried to dodge it only to get kicked in the back by one of the clones. Now I see what he's trying to do. He recognized my best range as a mid-range type, and he also recognizes that he is one as well but weaker than me. So, he's using those clones to keep me from moving, like a fence, and also on my toes, so I don't have time to use jutsus to counter while he keeps on attacking me from a safe distance. That's a sick way to fight someone, Kakashi thought. It looks like Naruto may be able to win against Sensei. Sasuke grinned. You think so? Sakura asked. Raiden. Daichi Raiko Dageki no Jutsu, Lightning Release, Ground Lightning Shock Technique. Kakashi yelled as he then slammed his right hand onto the ground and unleashed electric waves that stunned Naruto and his clones. When Naruto finally regained his senses, he felt a kunai behind him. I win, Kakashi said behind Naruto. I wouldn't be so sure, Sensei. Naruto said, from behind Kakashi as the one in front of Kakashi disappeared. Trust me, kid, I'm sure. Kakashi said, from behind Naruto as the other Kakashi was also a clone. Let me guess, you created a clone while I disoriented from your attack and then used that clone to come up behind my clone while you hid with that cloaking technique of yours, right? Naruto asked with a smirk. Yes, I did, though I am impressed with how fast you were able to create another clone. And also, that first exchange was a way to find my best range, wasn't it? So that way you knew how to attack me, right? Kakashi asked. Exactly. Naruto said. Good enough. You have also passed the first test. Kakashi said. Alright team, you've passed the first exam and now you must pass the second one. I call it the bell test. Kakashi said as he then took out two bells tied together. Bells? The three genins exclaimed quizzically. Yep, bells. The objective for this test is to simply get the bells from me and you pass. Kakashi said sternly. But Kakashi-sensei, there's only two bells. Doesn't that mean one of us will not pass? Sakura asked. Of course. There one who did not get the bell will be sent to academy regardless of the fact that you passed the first test, understood? Kakashi said sternly, causing the genins to gulp. Begin. Kakashi says, and all three genins hide into the forest. So they've hidden themselves, not bad. Now, if they can see underneath, then they will truly be my team. Kakashi thought. Well, in the meantime, let me start reading the masterpiece of all masterpieces. Kakashi said and then pulled an orange book from his pouch. He started to read it and giggle like a little girl. This test is ridiculous. He already knows we can't beat him even after throwing at him everything we could, and yet he wants us to get the bells from us. And not only that, but there are only two bells, which means one of us will fail anyway. No, there has to be a point to this test or else he wouldn't have wasted his time with this, but what is it? Naruto whispered as he racked his brain to come up with the answer while observing Kakashi. Damn it, if he only had a bigger brain than I. That's it, Naruto said as he figured it out, and then left his position. It seems Naruto has it figured out. Kakashi mentally noted as heard the genin move within the forest. Naruto continued to move through the trees until he was able to find Sasuke. Sasuke, I need your help. Naruto said to the Uchiha. My help? For what? Sasuke asked, confused that Naruto would need help. Listen, this test is about teamwork, not about individual skills. Naruto said. Teamwork. Sasuke repeated. Yes. Think about it. Can we really beat him one-on-one? You saw what happened in the first test, we couldn't even hit him once. So why have us try again for some bells unless he wants for us to try to get the bells as a team? Naruto explained. I see, that makes sense. Alright, I'm in, but we'll need Sakura's help as well. Sasuke said. He still hasn't shown any openings. Sakura thought. Hey, Sakura. Naruto said behind her, startling the girl. Naruto-kun. Sasuke. What are you guys doing here? Shouldn't you be trying to get the bells? Sakura asks. Sakura, listen to me. This test is about teamwork and we need to work together to get the bells. Naruto explains. But there's only two bells. Wouldn't one of us go back anyway? Sakura asked. That's not the true purpose of this test. He's only testing us in order to see if we can work as a team. Why do you think we were put in teams of 3? Because that is how it's always been. Naruto explains. Which means that the 2 bells are just a ploy to try and divide us and not make us see the true purpose behind his test. Sakura says, realizing what was going on. Yes, so thus we need to come up with a plan to beat this guy, and that's where you come in. Naruto said to Sakura, you want me to create a plan? Sakura asked. Yes, I do. You're the smartest of us 3 and thus we need your intelligence to come up with a plan. Naruto asked. Alright then, here's the plan. Sakura grinned. Kakashi continued to read his book until he saw Sasuke standing in front of him. It looks like you're ready to try and take the bell from me, right Sasuke? Kakashi said as he puts his book back into the pouch. Sasuke then made some seals and then. Fuden. Kei's Haoshi no Jutsu. Wind element. Wind wave pressure, Sasuke yelled out and shot a wind blast from his palm. A wind attack. But Sasuke isn't. Kakashi said mentally as he avoided the wind attack, only to find himself bound to the cherry blossom tree once again. Sakura's genjutsu. Kai. Kakashi thought and cancelled the genjutsu, only to find his bells missing and in the hands of Sasuke, with Sakura and the de-transformed Naruto next to him, all smirking. I see you guys figured out the concept behind this test. You should be proud, not many have in the past. But tell me something, who came up with the plan? Kakashi asked. I did. I knew you wouldn't expect Sasuke to use a wind ninjutsu, so I had Naruto transform into Sasuke to throw you off long enough to use my genjutsu on you, and by the time you would cancel it, Sasuke would be able to use his speed to dash in and get the bells from you. Sakura explained. Excellent plan, Sakura. As of now, we are officially Team 7. I want you guys to go get some rest because starting tomorrow, we're starting missions. Kakashi says. Yada. We did it. Good job. Sakura and Inner Self said, while the 2 boys smirked. I have a feeling this team is going to be something special. Kakashi said as he and the rest of his team walked off the training grounds, as they were about to start on their new adventures. Ohio, Mina. Kakashi greeted his team, only to get beat up by his students. Why? Kakashi asked as he groaned in pain. That's what you get for being 3 hours late. The genins yelled angrily at their sensei. Minutes later, Kakashi is back on his feet, recovered from his injuries. Okay guys, today we are going to do our first mission. Kakashi said. Finally. The 3 genins said. So sensei, what kind of mission is it? Sakura asks. You'll see. Kakashi said. The quiet of the Konoha forest was disturbed by the slight whisper of displaced air as Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura darted from tree to tree. All 3 genin wore a headpiece radio and were stalking an elusive foe. A short distance away, Kakashi sat in the mission command center, aka a clearing with a big rock he could sit on to read his porn, and contacted his subordinates. What's the distance to the target? Kakashi asked. 5 meters, I'm ready any time. Sasuke said. Okay. Go. Kakashi ordered. All 3 genin ran from their hiding places to pounce on their target, which tried to get away. After scratching him many times, Sasuke was able to get the target. Ribbon on the left ear, are you sure this is the target, Tora? Asked Kakashi over the radio. Yeah, it's him or it better be. Growled Sasuke as he was pissed that he had to do this mission and so were the others. Good. Lost pet. Tora. Search mission complete. Said Kakashi before he slipped his book back into its carrying pouch and appeared next to his students in a cloud of smoke for the walk back to Konoha. Team 7 could only stare at Tora in sympathy as the cat was hugged by its owner Madame Shijimi, the wife of the Fire Country daimyo. Oh, my cute little Tora-chan. I was so worried, cooed the lady as she practically strangled the cat. No wonder it ran away, the genins all thought. Okay, for your next mission, you are to go and babysit an elder's grandson, shopping in the neighboring village, and help with the potato digging, Iruka said. You're serious? Naruto said. What's wrong, Naruto? Iruka asked. Oh no, nothing, it's wrong. It's just that we as shinobis should be taking on more serious matters as hunting down traitors, helping protect someone. I mean, it wouldn't bode so well for Konoha if they make their genins do plant work and chores. I mean, unless now you can hurt people or kill them using chores and gardening or even create techniques from them. Naruto said. Naruto, stop being such a smart ass for once. Iruka said. I agree with Naruto. I mean, we're shinobis, not butlers or nannies. We need tougher missions than that. Sasuke said. Naruto, Sasuke, listen to me. These missions are perfectly designed genins like you. Iruka argued. That's ridiculous. We're shinobis, not servants, and as shinobis, we protect and defend our village and kill our enemies, not doing remedial chores. Naruto barked back. Listen, Naruto. These types of missions are there to instill maturity in genins, and help you learn how to work as a team. Also, these missions are ranked by skill, and D-class missions are perfect for genins since you are not experienced as well as chunins or junins, who take higher level missions. The Hokage explained. I understand your reasoning on this and I don't disagree. All I'm saying is that we already proved that we can work flawlessly as a team during Kakashi's Bell test, and our reports show that our skills are more than enough for taking higher missions. All I'm asking is that you give us another type of mission so we can prove ourselves as shinobis, and babysitting will not prove it. Naruto said, as he was now facing the Hokage face to face with a very serious look. He's right, and to be honest, I never liked the whole system much. It can deter someone's growth with ease, and also, they have to learn the true workings of the life of shinobi early so they can advance further. Kakashi said. The Hokage sighed as he realized he was defeated and then started to look at the stack of papers until he pulled one out. Alright, Kakashi, I will give you a chance for your team to prove yourself with this C-rank mission. Hokage said, and Sakura, Sasuke and Naruto all smiled as they now had their chance to prove themselves. It's a protection mission for a certain individual. The Hokage said to the shinobis and then turned his head to the door. You can come in now. He said, and thick-set older man wearing a large backpack with a towel around his neck and a bottle of some alcoholic beverage in his hand enters. Oh great, now we can get to protect an alcoholic. That's the way to help out genins, help them protect them, someone who drinks a lot so that way they can become alcoholics as well. Naruto said, this is the protection I'm going to get. Huh, like some brats are going to protect me, especially the short one. The man said, looks who's talking. You're the one who comes here smelling like piss and alcohol. I may be short, but at least I don't smell like garbage. And on top of that, you're holding a bottle of sake and drinking it in front of 3 12-year-olds. Hokage-sama, if we're going to protect this man, then you might as well put us down as future alcoholics. Naruto said, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm super expert bridge builder Tazuna and will be expecting you to provide me super protection until I get back to my country and complete the bridge. The old man yelled. I swore I heard someone say something. Naruto said as if he did not know who said what. Damn that kid, life isn't fair. Tazuna said as he was crying in the corner. It's alright Tazuna-san, you're not the only one he's done this. Iruka said, comforting the bridge builder. Victim number 512. Damn, I'm just too good. Naruto thought as he grinned. He's even worse than Sensei. Kakashi thought, alright, team, I expect everyone to be outside the gates by noon and bring all your ninja equipment. Kakashi said before poofing away. As ridiculous as this sound, I'm quite excited that we're leaving the village. Naruto said as he looked at his surroundings as they were standing near the gate. Is this your first time outside the village? Tazuna asked. Yes it is, and that's why I'm excited about it, and also the mission. Naruto explained. Glad to see everyone is here. Kakashi said as he arrived. Holy crap, you're on time. Who the hell are you and what have you done with Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked. Can't you just stop for once? Kakashi begged. Nope. Naruto replied with a smirk. Let's just get going everyone. Kakashi said, depressed, and everyone started to walk toward their way to wave. Tazuna-san, may I ask you a question? Sakura asked the bridge builder. Yes, what is it? Tazuna replied. You're from Wave, right? Sakura asks. Yeah, so, the bridge builder answered. Kakashi-sensei. Are there ninjas in Wave? Sakura asked her sensei. No, there are no ninjas in Wave, but there are in most other countries. The culture and customs may be different, but most countries do have hidden villages and ninjas. Kakashi said, answering the girl's question. To the many countries of the continent, the existence of a hidden village means military power. This is how they hold and maintain advantages on each other. But it's not that the villages rule the countries, they merely stand equal with the country's government. A small island country like the Wave country doesn't receive much interference from the other countries and does not require a shinobi village. Within the many shinobi villages like Mist, Leaf, Cloud, Sand, and Stone are large and powerful and thus are referred to as the Great Five Shinobi Countries. And thus, these are the only countries whose leaders are referred to as Kages. The 5 Kages are Hokage, Mizukage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage, and Raikage, and they reign over thousands of shinobis in the world. Kakashi explained to the others. Wow, so it looks like Naruto-kun's dream is much bigger than he lets on. Sakura thought as she looked at the blonde. And also, the Kages are the strongest ninjas of their village and have no equal. Naruto added, and if one truly noticed it, they would have heard a hint of pride in his voice. However, all this doesn't really matter for this mission since this is a C-rank mission and thus there aren't going to be any ninjas to face. Kakashi said. Are you serious? Damn that S. I won't be able to test my skills then. Sasuke said, clearly pissed. I wouldn't be too sure about that, Sasuke. Naruto thought as he noticed the look on Tazuna's face when Kakashi said that there weren't going to be any ninjas after them. As they continued to walk, they passed by a puddle to which Kakashi and Naruto noticed. A puddle in the middle of a dry road. Are you guys ing stupid or what? Naruto yelled out. You're ing dead, kid. 2 voices yelled. Then, a ninja wearing a breathing mask, dressed in all black with a headband of the Mist Village and a large metal gauntlet on each arm with a chain connecting them both, surfaced from the water, and then another one leapt from a tree, and then they both headed toward Kakashi and ripped him to pieces in an instant with their chains. 1 down. The bigger one said. 2 to go. The smaller said, finishing the other's sentence, and then headed for the Genins and Tazuna when suddenly, they found themselves in a field of flower petals. A genjutsu. The 2 said as they got cancelled the genjutsu. They try to locate the group when suddenly Sasuke is seen in the air and tosses a kunai at them, pinning their chains to the tree behind them. Sasuke then disappears and reappears slightly above the brothers, and delivers a double Ryu Senpu, hitting the brothers in the face and knocking back to the tree. Both brothers recover and disengage their chains, taking the young boy by surprise, and rush toward him with the intent to kill him when Kakashi suddenly appears and takes them out by clotheslining them. I could have handled it myself, Kakashi-sensei. Sasuke fumed. Yeah, you could, but I couldn't let you guys have all the fun. By the way, Sakura, nice job with the genjutsu. Kakashi said, praising the blonde. Thank you, sensei. Sakura grinned. So you were able to read our movements and hence why you guys plan to fool us. How? The 2 ninjas asked. Simple. It was the puddle. Like Naruto yelled out, it hasn't rained for many days, yet why is there a puddle in the middle of the road? That led to us figuring out that we were going to be ambushed. Naruto noticed it as well and quickly communicated with his teammate to make a plan and then used that smart mouth of his to provoke you guys off into attacking us. Kakashi explained. But even if the Genins could take care of themselves, why didn't you just take care of them yourself like you just did? Tazuna asked. You're right, I could have ended it instantly, but there was something I needed to find out. I need to find out who or what were they after to begin with. Kakashi explained. What do you mean? Tazuna asked. Meaning, were they after you or one of us? Kakashi began to say and then continues. Our mission was to simply protect you from thieves and gangs. We haven't heard that shinobis are after you. Our mission was to protect you until you completed your bridge, but now, this has become a B-rank mission. Kakashi explained. Tazuna remained quiet as he knew he had lied about the mission, so Kakashi continued. If it was known that ninjas were after you, this mission would have been set as the more expensive B-rank mission. I'm sure you had a reason, but lying about a mission causes difficult problems, and we are now operating outside the rules. Kakashi explained. I lied because my country is super poor, and if I told you about the ninjas, then this mission would have become too expensive for me to pay. If you guys want to return, that's fine by me. I guess this is what I deserve for causing so much trouble. Tazuna said as he felt ashamed of what he did, but then Naruto started to chuckle, startling everyone. There's no way in hell we're going back just because you lied, drunkie. Besides, this mission looks more and more interesting. Naruto smiled. Naruto, this isn't a game, there's a risk we might face tougher opponents out there. Kakashi countered. I knew that there was a possibility like this, but that's exactly why I want a higher ranked mission, so I can prove myself. Also, as a future Hokage, I can't let an innocent man's dream go down the drain just because of unknown dangers, even though he is a smelly alcoholic and liar. Naruto said firmly. Did he really have to insult me? Tazuna thought with a sweat drop behind his head. Besides, I know how to heal wounds and I can easily help with the injuries in case we get wounded. Sakura added. Come on, sensei. Gives us a chance. We did prove ourselves so far in this mission, and going back now would make us look like cowards, and if there's one thing I'm not, it's a coward. Sasuke said, finishing the Genin's opposition to their sensei. Okay. We'll finish this mission. Kakashi sighed. Why are these Genins so stubborn? He then added mentally. Thank you very much, all of you. Tazuna said politely. Like we said, we're not going to let you down, old man. Naruto said. That kid, for some reason, I can sense that there is more to him than just his smart mouth. Tazuna thought as he looked at the blonde Genin. Definitely like his father. Kakashi said mentally before he started to walk, with the others behind him. About this mission, you're right, this job is outside your duties, but I need to tell you that super dangerous man is after my life. Tazuna said. Super dangerous man? Who? Kakashi asks. You probably heard his name before. Tazuna said as he sighed before continuing. The wealthy shipping magnate, a man named Getu. Tazuna revealed. Huh. Getu. From that Getu company. He is said to be one of the world's few extremely wealthy people. Kakashi says, shocked that a man this wealthy would be involved in this mission. Yes, he officially runs a large shipping company. But secretly sells illegal drugs and other items using ninjas and gang members to take over businesses and countries. He's a very nasty man. It was about a year ago when he set his sight on Wave Country. Through money and violence, he quickly took control of the country's shipping industries. Getu now has a monopoly on all business traffic in the country. The only thing he has to fear is the completion of the bridge. Tazuna explained. So I guess this is why Getu is sending these ninjas after you. To try and stop you from building that bridge. Sakura says. Oh well, we already accepted that we are going to protect you until you complete your bridge, and that's that. Kakashi says. Thank you. Tazuna nodded, and then the group resumed their way toward Wave. An hour later, the group is heading toward Wave in a boat that is being rowed by a man wearing a straw triangular hat like Tazuna. So that's the bridge, huh? No wonder he wants it completed. Naruto said as he and the others marveled at the nearly completed bridge. Tazuna, it looks like we've avoided detection so far, but just in case, we'll take the route that vegetation. It will make harder for them to stop us. The man says. Thanks. Tazuna said. The boat goes through a tunnel and then stops at the dock. Tazuna and Team 7 get off the boat and wave goodbye to the man who helped them get here before continuing on their way through the forest. While in the forest, Naruto throws a shuriken at one of the bushes, surprising everyone. Why did you do that for, Naruto? Sasuke asks. I thought I heard something. Sorry. Naruto said. Let me check just to be sure. Kakashi said as he knew Naruto wouldn't try to do something as reckless or stupid as blindly throwing a shuriken. He walks up to the bushes and sees that the shuriken struck a snow-white rabbit right in the head. Wait a minute. Why is that rabbit's skin so white when it's spring? The skin of rabbits are always brown in the spring, not white, Sakura asked as they noticed the rabbit's snow-white skin and read about them in one of her books. That's because the enemy was keeping it in a cage to use it for body switching. Which means the enemy is already here. Everyone, be on your guard. Kakashi added to Sakura's observation. Suddenly, a huge sword is seen flying toward Kakashi and the others, who fortunately were able to duck it. The sword ends up stuck on a tree and right on top of it was the masked man with gray pants and black armguards and shin guards and a mist headband. Well, if isn't the hidden mist's missing nin, Momoichi Zabuza. Kakashi said as he revealed the figure's personality. Alright guys, I want all of you to stay back, he's on a whole different level compared to the others. Kakashi told his team. And you are Hataki, the lightning fang, Kakashi. Sorry, but the old man is mine. Zabuza said. Lightning fang. The genins exclaimed. You kids didn't know. Your sensei here was an upper A-class shinobi in our bingo book during my time as Anbu in the mist. Zabuza said. So our sensei is actually a badass. Sasuke smirked. And here I thought you only had chronic tardiness. But wait, you have chronic tardiness and yet you have a reputation as a badass, which can only mean one thing. Kakashi sensei, you're a living conundrum. Naruto said. Why couldn't he be more like Kushina? Kakashi thought. Ninpu. Kurigakure no Jutsu, ninja arts, silent mist technique. Zabuza said, and then the whole field was engulfed in a very thick mist. What's going on? This mist is so thick. Sakura said. This isn't good at all. This technique is specialized for silent killing, which Zabuza was an expert of. You won't even know you're dead until you are. You guys better be careful. Kakashi explains, alerting them of a possible attack. The mist is getting thicker. Naruto said as he noticed it getting thicker. 8 choices. Zabuza started to say. Where the hell is he? Sasuke asked as he was getting more and more nervous. Liver, lungs, spine, clavicle vein, neck, brain, kidneys, heart. Which one should I go after? Zabuza asked. Kakashi then made a seal and emitted some of his chakra in order to clear out the mist. As soon as he did, they were all hit by an intense killing intent. This killing intent, it's even worse than those of the villagers. It's the killing intent of a man who truly wants to kill for the simple pleasure of it and is fully capable of. Naruto thought. Don't worry, Naruto. I won't let any of my comrades die before I do. Kakashi said as he tried to reassure the young man. Then, Zabuza appeared in between the genins and Tazuna. It's that so? Zabuza said, shocking the genins and Tazuna. He swings his sword, but before his sword could come down and kill the genins and Tazuna, his hand was held back by Kakashi's right hand, and with his left hand, Kakashi put a kunai near Zabuza's neck. Don't move, Kakashi said. Now I understand. You left a clone behind to fool me by saying those words while meanwhile, you were hiding waiting for an opening. Zabuza said. And it wasn't so hard to do considering I had used my Raiko Harem, lightning wires, to track you down. Kakashi said. Not bad. Zabuza said, but then smirked before turning into water. Mizu Bushin. Kakashi thought. Kakashi quickly evaded to his left as Zabuza swung his sword down and struck the ground. Zabuza then brought his sword back up and swung again, but this time, Kakashi blocked it with some sort of fang blade in the form of lightning. A chakra fang made of lightning must be a type of chakra specialization. I'm impressed that it's that durable. Zabuza said and then kicked Kakashi in the stomach, knocking him back about 6 meters with his right foot. Kakashi sensei. The genins exclaimed as they saw their sensei being knocked back. I'm okay. You guys just stay away from the mist and protect Tazuna-san at all costs. Meanwhile, I'm going to take this guy down. Kakashi said as he stood back up. The genins nodded and got as far as the mist as possible. Take me down. And how are you going to do that? Zabuza asked. By doing this, ninjutsu tokushitsu, ninjutsu specialization, Raiko Ukami, lightning wolf. Kakashi said and then performed a series of seals and then his hands were covered in silver gauntlets and his foot in silver greaves. Wolf edge. Kakashi yelled as he leapt into the air, performed an overhead kick with his right leg and unleashed a powerful silver air blade that headed for Zabuza, but Zabuza was able to dodge it only for Kakashi to dash straight for him and throw a right straight. Zabuza blocked the attack, but then Kakashi discharged electricity from his fist and knocked Zabuza about 10 meters back. So that's your ninjutsu specialization, huh, Kakashi? Well then, let me show you mine. Zabuza said and then did a number of seals before putting his left hand on his blade, which then radiated with chakra. Awaken, Kiri Kiri, Mist Executioner. Zabuza said, and then the chakra surrounding the sword was absorbed into the sword. The sword didn't change shape, so what did it do? Kakashi asked. It's no time to stare, Kakashi. Zabuza yelled and then swung his sword as wide as he could, and then suddenly, a large explosion was made as trees fell down. When the smoke cleared, there was a huge trail on the ground, about 5 meters wide, and Kakashi was on the ground with blood on his arms and legs. You're god lucky, Kakashi, but the next slash will be the end for you. Zabuza said. Even if you do kill me, my team is already way gone by now. Kakashi said as he slowly got back up. That sword of his, it was able to emit such level of chakra, could that be its ability? Kakashi thought. That would be true if it wasn't for the fact that I'm not alone. In fact, my partners should be killing them by now. Zabuza said with a smirk. Man, we're standing here doing nothing while Kakashi-sensei is getting all the action. Sasuke said, fuming. Are you insane? Didn't you hear the large explosion just a few minutes ago? If it wasn't for Kakashi's warnings, we might have been caught in that. Sakura said. She's right, and besides, they're way out of our league. This battle is pure Junin level. Naruto replied. It looks like Zabuza-san is fighting someone tough. An unknown voice said, and our genins and Tazuna turned around and saw someone with dark blue hair, a wolf oni mask, gray vest, white shirt, gray pants, black fingerless gloves, and sandals standing about 3 meters behind them. Who the hell are you? Sasuke asked. Me. I'm just someone who wants to play. The person said, and from their voice, the person was identified as a boy. He then disappeared and reappeared behind Tazuna with his katana drawn out. You're dead, old man. The boy said as he was about to slash through Tazuna, only to find himself surrounded by petals. A genjutsu. The boy said and quickly cancelled out of the genjutsu and saw that his target was in the hands of the genins, who moved about 5 meters away from the boy. Nice genjutsu. The boy said. So you must be with Zabuza, right? Sakura asked. Of course I am, though you should be less worried about who I'm with and be more worried about how you're going to survive against me. From the last event, I can easily deduce that only one of you can keep up with me 100% of the time. In fact, the only reason why one of you was able to land a genjutsu on me was because that person, and they must have warned you when I was about to reappear so that you could use the genjutsu. The boy said. He's right. That speed of his was so great that it was only thanks to Sasuke that we were able to locate him behind Tazuna-san, and also our quick teamwork that allowed us to save Tazuna. Naruto thought as he gritted his teeth. Since it looks like I have to get through you guys, let's get started. The boy said and then disappeared and was behind the genins and in front of Tazuna. The boy then decapitated Tazuna, only for the latter to turn into a cloud of smoke. Kaden. Gukyaku no Jutsu. Sasuke said and then unleashed his fireball right at the boy, who instantly moved out of the way and reappeared about 5 meters from the team. You've hidden the old man as soon as you performed the genjutsu, didn't you? The boy said in an angry tone. Of course we did. Our priority is to protect Tazuna-san, and the best way to do so against an opponent like you is to hide him somewhere safe and take you out first. Naruto answered with a smirk. Hey Naruto, Let me handle him. Sasuke said. Are you crazy, Sasuke? This guy is way faster than any of us. We need to work as a team. Naruto objected. Naruto-kun is right, and besides, we outnumber him 3-1. Let's use that fact to our advantage. Sakura added on. I know, but listen. During our first exchange, I was the only one able to keep up with him for the most part, hence how I was able to warn the two of you and thus set up that genjutsu, remember? What I'm saying is for you two to let me go at him one-on-one, and when there is a clear opening, hit him with everything you've got. Sasuke said. That would be more effective if we try your way. Okay Sasuke, we're counting on you. Naruto said. Sasuke smirked and then walked up to the boy and stood about 3 meters from him and then got into his fighting stance. Oro, you're going to fight me one-on-one? You must be crazy. Just because you can see me doesn't mean you can fight at the same level of speed as I can. The boy said. Crazy I am then, but enough of this talking, let's get right down to the main course. Sasuke said and then performed his Hyakuyaku technique to disappear. He's fast. The boy said as he then located Sasuke in midair. Dragon Cutter. Sasuke yelled as he then came down on the boy with his split kick, but the boy countered by raising his left leg upwards and stopping Sasuke. The boy then reappeared behind Sasuke and drew out his sword and swung it at Sasuke, who then turned into a log. A substitution. The boy said. Fuden. Kase ha oshi no jutsu. Wind element. Wind wave pressure. Naruto yelled and unleashed his shot of wind from his right hand at the boy, who then disappeared to avoid the blast. Ryu Senpuu. Sasuke yelled as he was behind the boy, and before the latter could react, he was knocked back by Sasuke's kick. Damn it, so they're using two fronts to attack me. That boy has the close range front and then the other two behind as the mid-long range front. If I avoid the former, I get attacked by the latter and vice versa. And because he can keep up with my speed, he can easily alert the other two in case of an attack. Che, guess I have no choice but to use that technique. The boy thought. Okay boys and girls, it's time for me to take you guys seriously. The boy said. Take us seriously. The 3 genins said. Yep, and I'll do so with this technique that I like to call Shunchi, Flash Earth, which goes like this. The boy said, and then in an instant was beside Sasuke. What are you looking at? The boy said, and it was then that Sasuke and the others realized he had moved. He moved. When? Sasuke thought. 1 down, the boy began to say, and then a slash across Sasuke's chest appeared, drawing out blood. 2 to go. The boy finished as Sasuke fell to the ground unconscious. Sasuke. Sakura yelled as she saw her fallen teammate. We're doomed. Tazuna said. He looks like he's the same age as us, and yet, his fighting level is just so much higher than ours. Naruto thought as he was trembling. That was Sakura's voice. Did his partner already get to Sasuke? If that's so, then I must finish this now. Kakashi thought. Dragon Cannon. Zabuza thought as he spun his sword and then thrust his sword forward and unleashed a dragon-headed chakra wave at Kakashi. Kakashi saw the wave coming and ran toward it and kicked his right foot upward to counter the dragon wave and was able to kick it upward and away from him. He deflected my dragon cannon. Zabuza thought with a shocked look on his face. Raiko Kami Ken, Lightning God Fist. Kakashi yelled as he then dashed toward Zabuza and punched him with his right fist, electrocuting him. Zabuza then fell down on his knees and began to pant heavily. Still alive after taking such an attack, huh? It seems I'll have to finish you off another way. Kakashi said as he then did a number of seals and then generated a huge amount of electric chakra in his right hand. Such much chakra. Zabuza thought as he slowly got back up. Reikiri, Lightning Blade. Kakashi yelled and was about to thrust his attack when suddenly, Zabuza was received 2 needles in the neck. What in the world? Kakashi said as he stopped his attack as he was surprised at what just happened. Suddenly, a person with 2 long braids framing the side of their face and their hair tied up under a small cap and wearing a white mask with red stripes appeared next to Zabuza. Sorry, but I cannot allow you to kill him. The person said, and from their voice, they sounded like a girl, and before Kakashi could do anything, she grabbed Zabuza and disappeared. Damn it, he got away. Kakashi thought as he fell on his knees, panting heavily. Now, time to finish you guys off. The boy said as he walked up to Naruto and the others when he suddenly stopped as the girl who had grabbed Zabuza reappeared next to the boy. Zabuza lost. It's time for us to retreat. The girl said. Oh really? Oh well, see you guys later. The boy said to our heroes as he and the girl then disappeared. Are you guys alright? Kakashi asked as he arrived on the scene. Only Sasuke got injured but it's not a fatal wound. What about you Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked.